Hello my yarny friends, I'm Sara Sach and welcome back to my crochet channel. Today's video I'm going to show you how to crochet this super easy and fun loop handle washcloth. It measures about 10 by 10 inches, so it's a nice size, but you can get those multiples off the blog if you want to make it bigger or smaller. It's great for using in the bathroom to clean your face, your body, the sink or the bathtub, as well as the kitchen for washing dishes. It has a little bit of texture because we're stitching it up in half double crochet V-stitches, but it's not too harsh that you can't use it on your body. And the purpose of the loop is so you can hang it up to dry, but also you can flip that washcloth through this loop so that you can hang it up on those handles that go sideways, like I showed you in those pictures at the beginning of the video. It's a great pattern to use up some of your leftover cotton yarns as well, and it makes great gifts for lots of special occasions: baby showers, birthdays, housewarming parties, weddings. So there are lots of fun reasons to make some of these washcloths. Now you can find the complete pattern with pictures, as always. I'll put that blog link down in the notes underneath this video. The yarn that we're using for today's project is the Peaches and Cream Stripey. This one is done with this one, and it is called Linen. And it just has different shades of beiges and sort of a grayish color. And I really love it. I think it turned out beautiful. For today's demonstration, though, I want to make a green one, and this is the Peaches and Cream Stripey, and this is just called Green Stripes. You're going to need approximately 2 ounces of cotton. This comes with 2 ounces, and you can see I've got a little bit left over. So maybe closer to 1.5 ounces. It just depends on how tightly that you stitch. All right, so approximately 2 ounces of a medium weight number 4 cotton yarn. Now you'll notice I added a decorative button. It's not there for any purpose other than just to add a little bit of fun to it. And I found this pretty leopard button that I thought looked really good with this particular yarn. Now I know you're going to ask me where I got that. It was just one that I had in my stash. So I don't really remember where I got it. A lot of times I just cut them off things that I don't wear anymore, or I'll find them at different stores that are on sale. So I don't really know where I got that one. I would go with 1.5 inch buttons because you want a nice pretty button. This one I'm going to use this pretty green flower. I think it will look really good with this yarn. All right, so we're going to stitch them up with an H-hook, 5mm crochet hook. You need a needle for weaving in ends and sewing on that button. And make sure that needle is going to fit through those holes, I was going to say eyes, through the holes of your button so you don't have issues there. And then again, you're going to need a pair of scissors. All right, we're going to begin with our slip knot, and we're going to chain 32 chains a little bit loose. And it's important that we do it just a little bit loose because we don't want the bottom of our washcloth to pucker up on us. All right, so we're going to loosely chain 32 chains. I have chained 32 chains. I'm going to place a half double crochet in the second chain from the hook. So yarn over, go in, pull up a loop, yarn over, and go through all 3 of those loops. And now we're just going to place 1 half double crochet in each of the chains, working all the way across our row. One half double crochet in each of the chains. I stitched a half double crochet in the second chain and then in each chain across, so I have 31 half double crochets. We're going to chain one, and our chain one does not count as a stitch, and we're going to turn our work. The chain one will not count as a stitch throughout this project. We're going to half double crochet in the very first half double crochet, then we'll half double crochet in the next. We're going to skip the next half double crochet and then half double crochet a V-stitch in the next stitch. So we'll half double crochet, chain one, and half double crochet in that same stitch. Now we're going to skip the next stitch and half double crochet V-stitch in the next. Skip the next, half double crochet V-stitch in the next. And we're going to repeat this all the way across until we reach those last 3 half double crochet stitches. Skip the next, half double crochet V-stitch in the next, which is a half double crochet, chain one, half double crochet, and we'll stitch this across. So I have repeated this all the way across, half double crochet V-stitch, skip one, half double crochet V-stitch, and you're going to have a total of 13 half double crochet V-stitches. And then we end with 3 stitches. So we're going to skip the next and half double crochet in those last 2 stitches. And chain one. And so you have 2 half double crochets at the beginning and 2 at the end, which gives you 4 half double crochets, and then 13 half double crochet V-stitches. Chain one and turn. All right, now we're going to do row 3. We're again going to stitch a half double crochet in those first 2 stitches, and also our chain one did not count as a stitch. And now we're going to move to the chain one space of our half double crochet V-stitch. So we'll go in that chain one space and stitch a half double crochet V-stitch. And we'll repeat this, working all the way across, stitching a half double crochet V-stitch in the chain one space of each half double crochet V-stitch. And this is what gives us that texture. It's a nice texture. It's not big and bumpy, but it's enough that it can clean a dish as well as being soft enough to clean your skin. All right, so I'm going to continue working this across, placing a half double crochet V-stitch in each of the chain one spaces of the half double crochet V-stitches. I have completed stitching my half double crochet V-stitches in the chain one spaces of my half double crochet V-stitches. That brings us to our last 3 stitches. Of course, we skip that next one and place a half double crochet in the last 2. And chain one. Now I do want to mention at this point, if you see your washcloth bending down, then you've made your beginning chain too tightly. That's why it was important to make that beginning chain very loose, or not very loose, but loose, so that it lays properly. All right, chain one and turn, and now what we're going to do is repeat what we did on row 3. Half double crochet in the first 2 half double crochets, and then half double crochet V-stitch in each of the chain one spaces of our half double crochet V-stitches, working all the way across like we did on the previous row. This pattern is super easy and it's a great take-along pattern. I have now completed row 4. We have our 2 half double crochets at the beginning of our row. We have 13 half double crochet V-stitches and then 2 half double crochets at the end of our row. And remember, our chain one does not count as a stitch on this project at the beginning or ends of our rows. All right, so now that you understand how the pattern works, we're going to continue to repeat row 4 for 17 more rows, and that'll bring us up through row 21. All right, so you're going to repeat row 4 for 17 more rows. I have completed 17 additional rows. And so now what we're going to do is we're going to put the outside trim on, and then we're going to add that loop. So after our last row, we're going to chain 1, and again, we're going to turn our work. This row, we're going to do a solid row of half double crochets. So we're going to half double crochet in the first 2 stitches. And then we're going to half double crochet in each of the half double crochets. So we'll go in the first half double crochet of that first V-stitch. We will not stitch in the chain 1 space. We'll stitch in that next half double crochet. And this is what we're going to do across the top of our work. So basically we're just stitching a half double crochet in each of the half double crochets across. Do not stitch in the chain 1 spaces. I have stitched those half double crochets across the top of my washcloth, and I'm in that last stitch. In the corner, we're going to stitch a half double crochet, chain 1, and half double crochet, and that's going to get us neatly around the corners. And so now what we're going to do is we're going to evenly half double crochet down the side, half double crochet, chain 1, half double crochet in the corner, then we'll evenly half double crochet across the bottom, half double crochet, chain 1, half double crochet in the corner, and then we'll evenly half double crochet back up to the top where we started our even row of half double crochets. All right, so what you want to do when you're going down the side is you want to try to put those half double crochets in the sides of the stitches and not the holes. We don't want any gaping holes in our washcloth. And it's all about eyeballing. You're not going to be able to have a set amount of stitches unless you just want to count. But it's really not necessary. You just want to eyeball it and make sure you're putting them far enough apart where they're not bunching, but not too far where you have holes. See how that's a little too far and there's a hole in there? We don't want that. But we also don't want it to be all closed up together where we have bunching. Like if I were to put it back up in here, that would be too close because it would be bunched up. And so you just need to eyeball it and just watch it. Do the best that you can to keep those stitches even all the way across. And so we're evenly stitching half double crochets on these last 3 sides and placing a half double crochet, chain 1 in each of the 3 corners. Now I have a solid row of half double crochets all the way around my washcloth. So the last thing we're going to do is add our loop and our button. Now if you do not want to add the loop and you like the washcloth just like it is, you can go ahead and tie off and weave your end in. But I love adding that extra loop on there because I think it makes hanging up the washcloth so that it can dry so much easier. To form the loop, after we've joined to that first half double crochet, we're going to chain 24 chains. And again, we don't want these to be too tightly stitched, so we're going to chain them loosely. I've chained my 24 chains loosely. I'm going to go right in that same stitch where we joined and join with a slip stitch and chain 1. There we go. Now we're going to turn a little bit because we want to go back into that first chain where we started, and we're going to stitch a single crochet in each of those chains. And we're going to go in each of those 24 chains that we just made. One single crochet, not half double crochet. So I'm single crocheting in each of those 24 chains. I have single crocheted in each of those chains. Now I'm just going to join right back in that same stitch with a slip stitch and cut my yarn. And that makes a nice loop for hanging up or flipping it through, and I'll show you that in just a second. Now what we want to do is grab our needle and weave this end in. Now you'll notice that I cut a long tail of yarn, and that's because once I weave this in, I'm going to use it to sew my button on. Then I don't have that extra knot in the back. If I can get my needle threaded here. All right, let's try this. There we go. All right, so I'm going to go in the back here, and I'm going to give this a couple of stitches because I want that to be held on there nice and secure. And that gives me plenty of yarn to sew my button on. All right, so I'm going to come right back up, and this particular button only has 2 holes in it. The other one I put on, the beige washcloth, had 4. All right, so I'm just going to go, I think I'll have it sit this way. I like adding the button because I think it adds a little extra flair. And whoever you're making this for, whatever they're into, like maybe they're into dogs, you can use a dog paw print or a dog bone. If they're into cats, you could put a little cat button or a fish. If they're into football, add a football button. You can really personalize it. But also, I also suggest if you're going to use these around small children, like say you're just going to give it to them in the bathtub to play with or something, do not make the strap long enough where they can get it over their head, and make sure you don't use a button that they can take off and swallow. And really, if you're going to use this with babies and small kids in the bathtub, I probably wouldn't add the button, just for safety's sake, okay? All right, so now I'm just going to make sure this is attached securely in the back. A nice snug pull. I don't want my button coming off, that's for sure, because it's super cute. All right. So now I have one in greens. I think it's super pretty. And the loop is big enough for me to flip it over. And let me show you on the handle of my bucket here, okay? All right, so let's pretend this is the handle that you want to put it on. It doesn't have an end you can hook it on, so you want to flip it through. All right, so we're going to take it like this and just grab that towel and flip it through. And now it's on that handle and it can hang to dry. Or you can just hook it up on a hook. Either way, it's just a great little way to hang it up. You can hang it on the faucet of your tub, of your sink, and anywhere you want to hang your towel to dry. And that is just how easy it is to make our loop handle washcloth. They're great for lots of reasons to make them. Use up your yarn scraps, or they're perfect for lots of gift-giving occasions.